Hello, everyone. I hope you can see me and hear me on this wonderful Tuesday evening. Today, we are going to discuss waste. So there's a lot to get into as far as waste. I'm going to try to keep it kind of high-level topic and not get stuck in the weeds here. But basically what this is all about is, are you getting paid the amount of waste for Ridge and Starter that you should? A lot of adjusters are starting to use the auto-calculate waste factor. So I want to show you what that looks like. We're going to be talking a lot about, is it correct? Is it incorrect? Sometimes it turns out in your favor. It's really strange. Depends on the type of roof. And then sometimes, it is not good for you at all and you're getting shorted. So we're going to take a look at the auto calculate waste feature to see if, so that you know if you're getting the correct amount of Ridge and Starter added. So look, it looks like I can see Luke there. Say hello if you're here. Let me know if you can hear me. I'm not sure if I have sound. Sometimes these apps that we use to stream to Facebook Live get a little wonky. So if you can hear me, let me know. And I'd appreciate that. We also have people over on YouTube. So if you're on YouTube, feel free to say hello as well. All right. We're going to go ahead and get started pretty quickly here. I've got a lot to go over. Basically, it's all about Ridge and Starter today. Thank you for that. Now I know that you can hear me. So we've got a lot that we can take a look at. And the giveaway today is going to be, if you comment down below waste, I'm going to send you my waste calculator that I'm going to be showing you, demonstrating today. And so if you comment down below, you'll get that. It is a very simplified waste calculator, but if you're not using a waste calculator at all right now, you're going to love it, because at least you can show the adjuster mathematically why his numbers aren't working. So thank you, Rick. Hi, Steve. Good to see you. Peter's here as well over on YouTube. Awesome. And so we'll send that over to you through Facebook Messenger. Now, if you're watching on YouTube, comment waste down below and we'll reply later after this broadcast, and we'll get you the instructions on how to receive that information. So be sure to go ahead and comment waste if you want to see my waste calculator. And I'll get started here. I'm going to share my screen and we'll get rolling. So what we're talking tonight, for those of you that just joined us, we're going to be talking all about Ridge and Starter waste and how in Xactimate, some of these carriers now are starting to auto-calculate the waste. And I want to show you, so sometimes it's a good thing and sometimes not so great. It just depends, but I want you to know what you're looking at whenever you see a report that shows there's an auto-calculate waste factor, because it does make a little note there, okay? So yeah, let's go ahead and get started. I think you can see my screen here. And we're just basically a pretty basic roof here. It's a really funny long garage here, and just a basic roof, basic hip roof that I've sketched. I'm going to go over to estimate items. So hopefully you can see that it's not too small on my screen here, but if we go into estimate items, we go to that roof. I've already added some shingles, and in the shingles here is a little tiny, now on the replacement, guys, not the removal, I'm in the replacement of the shingles. You can see here in this little tiny waste bin, that little ice cube looking icon is where you can control the waste. And I know if you're on a phone, that might look really small here, so I apologize. My resolution, I have, a long laptop, it's stupid. But you can see here, if you open up the waste, I've got an option, if I drop down under waste, it says auto calculate. So that's what you'll see there, auto calculate for the waste. And that's what they're doing when they're, out there in the field. You'll see this note that shows up under the replacement of shingles. It says the roof waste has been auto calculated. Is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? I don't know. Let's take a look. You need to also set up your valleys. Are your valleys open? Are they closed, half laced, or are they woven, fully laced? We're going to leave our valleys open. And then here's the kicker. Do you want Xactimate to include an eave starter course? Why, yes, I do. Do I want it to include a rake starter course? Yes, I do. So notice it says nothing about Ridge here, guys. And that's where this, to me, the numbers don't usually work out so great. We'll just keep going, though. All right, so there's not a Ridge setting. It's, do we want to the valleys and the eave? That's fine. So I believe it's going to calculate the Ridge in here, but we'll take a look at the waste percentage that it comes up with. So I'm going to left-click OK. And then I'm going to OK out of the line item. And that's where you're going to see the extra material get added here. So right now we're at 31 squares without the waste. I left click OK. it bumped it up to 33.33. And what it did is added a note to the line item. So you can see the little note attachment here. I have a 1 next to it. That Xactimate did that. I didn't do this. It added a waste note here. It says auto-calculated waste 8.3% or 2.57 squares. Now you tell me, anyone who does roofing in this group here who's watching tonight, would 8.33 be very good waste percentage on this roof? I'm going to go ahead and say it. No, it would not. So let's go ahead and take a look here at an actual waste calculator. Now, this is one that one of our members of our awesome group, a person who went through my training, developed this for me. It's amazing. Let me zoom it in here. This I can zoom in on at least. And it's very basic. I will openly admit it's super basic, but this is enough to help us show the adjuster mathematically why his auto-calculate waste in Xactimate might not be so great. It might not be very true to what the materials that we're going to have to order, especially on a laminate style roof, because we're ordering separate ridge, separate starter. We can't create those materials out of the 3 tabs like you can with 3 tab. We are ordering separate materials, right guys? Okay, so what you're going to want to do is take out this waste calculator and fill it out according to the specifications. Now, I just use an average laminate architectural shingle here. That in a bundle of shingles, there's going to be 27 in a bundle. And once you set that number, the calculator will figure out the rest of how much linear foot of starter or ridge. If we could use it, you know, since it's included in the waste, we're fine. We'll accept your argument, but we'll also show you why you're wrong. Even though your argument's false because we can't create starter or ridge from your laminate architectural shingle, Mr. Adjuster, that's okay, fine. We'll play your little game. So if I've already plugged in the numbers here, for that roof that we just saw, let me just go back to it here. For this roof here, I have it at, I think it was 30.76. Is that right? 30.76 squares. And so that's what the tear off was. And that's what the adjuster showed the tear off was. And then the putback was actually 33.33 on his estimate. So I fill out everywhere. If you're going to download this by commenting waste, I'll send you this calculator right here tonight. We'll send it to you through Facebook Messenger, or if you're on YouTube, comment waste and we'll get it over to you after the broadcast. But everywhere you see on this calculator, guys, if you're going to use it, everywhere in yellow is where you want to fill it out. So I did have to hand enter the tear off, the replacement, the total perimeter, so we can calculate my total quantity of starter, and then total ridge and hip length. So add those two together. If you have ridges and hips, add them together, and that goes in that last box. The calculator does the rest. It says that according to these parameters, if we could create, which we can't, if we could use this laminate architectural shingle to create ridge or starter, we would need 0.92 squares for starter and 1.7 squares for ridge and hips, meaning we need a total of 2.66 squares just for waste alone. Now, that doesn't mean cutting in valleys, cutting in the field shingles. If you guys know about the Eagle View report, it states in there the waste percentage should not include those areas of the roof into the waste. So this is just our ridge and starter. We need 2.66 just for those, not talking about cutting in the field shingles at all. And the adjuster on the original estimate, if you do the math, if you subtract the 33.33, you know, from what he paid for tear off, he only paid for 2.57 squares. And in his, I think, let's see here. Let me read it again here. Yeah, so where I'm going with this is that the ridge and starter has eaten up, the ridge and starter has eaten up all of our waste percentage of the 8%. We're actually at a negative waste percentage, and I messed with my fat fingers, hit a key there. Yeah, so it's saying that we have a negative waste percentage. We basically have no other material left to cut in for the roof. That's it. So the argument here is we need 10% or 15% waste for the roof first. Then I need an additional 2.66 squares for the ridge and starter, or we would just go and add those line items in Xactimate. So what I would do to fix his estimate from this guy who, instead of using the auto-calculate waste that I just showed you, that was auto-calculated, I would go back in and I would, we're going to have the 30.76 and it's a hip roof. So I'm going to use the multiply by 1.15. And that's going to get us our correct amount of waste for just the field shingles, 35.67. And then we're going to add the line items for ridge and starter, RIBGZ. Yep. I keep on fat fingering it. There we go. And I'm going to add those line items for the ridge and the starter on top of the 15% waste, which will give us our correct amount of material that we're going to show that we'll order here. So what I do is when I run the waste calculator, all right, and if you want that waste calculator I just showed, please comment waste down below. We'll send that out to you. And what I do is I take these numbers and I actually place them in the ridge line item note. So right here, the ridge line item note, I actually have one already saved that I have quite a library here. Let me find my laminate. There we go. So it says the Eagle View report states only the roof area is included in your waste calculations of 15%. And I can put on in here, I've changed your waste to 15% because it was at 8 something. And then I take that waste calculator and I actually spell it out for them mathematically. Why I'm going to need the ridge material added to my estimate and the starter material added to my estimate. And then that along with, you submit that with your supplement estimate and they say, well, no, we're not going to pay that. Don't care, don't matter, don't care. Then when the job is done, complete, I'm going to take the drop invoice of the actual material that I ordered that should match this estimate that I'm writing. I'm not making these numbers up and not coming out of thin air. So this material allowance should match my drop invoice, whatever you get from your supplier when they drop the materials at the address. I'm going to take that. Now, I'm not going to show them any pricing. Okay, so it's not that invoice. It's the invoice that has how much material. You can probably call your supplier, get those for your jobs. And I'm going to put that with my estimate. Now the job is complete. I've ordered my materials. The cost has been incurred. So now I'm going to send that to the adjuster and say, math doesn't lie. Here's what I ordered. Let's go, guy. Come on. So that's why waste calculator can be really powerful. Even though Xactware is trying to help us out by having this auto calculate waste and all these other things that they're trying to integrate, it still doesn't meet what actual reality is. Now, I will caveat that when you have a really super cut up roof, let's see if I can pull one out of the sketch library. If you have a super cut up roof, I think I have one downloaded here. What you can do with a super cut up roof, it usually goes in your favor. So watch for that little note that's on the replacement line item that you saw that I was showing you. Let me go here and see if I can find one that's one like this, let's say. And if I place that there and then go to the add the material on those roofs, let me group them all together first. There we go. Okay, let's see what this roof is going to be. Level 2. Oh, I still didn't group them all. Pardon my, sorry guys, I didn't set this up. I should have set it up before the live. Let me grab them all. I didn't grab them all. There we go. And let's drop the auto calculate waste on this crazy roof here. So I'm going to go ahead and do that again for anyone who missed it. Auto calculating waste usually on most residential roofs will not be in your favor. It's going to be short. But however, when you have a really cut up roof like this one here, I'm going to go to the waste bin and I'm going to go to the waste area and auto calculate and tell it to include the starter. And let's see what it comes up with waste on this one. Just take a look. And it came up with 16% waste. Nope, still I think that's kind of low for the turret and everything else that you saw in this this roof here. This is pretty complex. I think it's going to be, yeah, we're going to need more material than that. Anyway, so just take a look at that note. That's what that note means. Whenever you see that now more and more with the more adjusters using that auto calculate feature, you'll see it on the report. Let me just show you an example of what the report's going to look like with that note attached. Here, you're going to see that, oh, it was down below that I added it. Here we go. This is the note that I'm referring to. If that helps you, it's a little bit larger. So right here, that when you see that, that's them using that auto calculate feature and not entering a waste percentage or letting Xactimate do it. So any questions on that? Let me know. Looks like we don't have any questions yet, so that's great. So if you want my waste calculator that I was just demonstrating, be sure to comment waste down below. Even if you're on YouTube, we'll get to you after the broadcast. But if you're on Facebook and you comment waste, we will send that to you through Facebook Messenger. So I hope that is a useful tool for you. Again, it's not the biggest, best, most amazing calculator, but it worked when I was a supplementer in my supplement business. I owned a third-party supplement business, and we were able to get the adjusters more times often than not to pay the ridge and starter separately from the roof waste laminate shingles by showing them the actual math calculations and how mathematically it just doesn't work. So that's why a waste calculator is great. There are some more intense ones out there. You can Google and see if you want something that's more advanced, but usually you have to pay for those kinds of things. Also, some suppliers offer a roof waste calculator that's a little bit more in depth, that calculates like your field shingle waste, you're cutting in your valleys and your eaves and all of that. So if you want something really detailed, get with your manufacturer rep and see if they have something for you. Otherwise, like I said, mine worked fine for the years that we did. I owned my supplement business. So comment waste if you want that. All right. And that's pretty much everything I have, unless you guys have any questions. And next week, I'll be back talking about another different topic. So same bat channel, same bat time, same bat channel. I show up here at 6 p.m. Central every Tuesday to show you something that I think you need to keep updated with here in the industry. And I just love sharing new things with you. And I'm super excited to give you that stuff. So be sure to be here next week. We'll have another giveaway as well, another resource for you. And until then, you can still comment down below, even if you're watching a replay, and we'll get that waste calculator over to you. Thanks, Rick, for being here, and everybody else. I see we had about 20 people, which is amazing. And yeah, thanks, Steve. And we'll see you next week. We'll send you a message and tell you what the topic is, so you'll be sure to be here if you're interested. So have a great week. Stay safe out there, and we'll see you next Tuesday.